the DJI Mini 4K.
Flies exactly like you would expect a DJI product to fly.
If you are considering getting your first drone, you might pay attention now, as DJI has just released a new entry-level drone that is called the DJI Mini 4K. Let's get the pricing out of the way, as this is an entry-level product, so this will of course have a lot of impact to those of you that decide to buy it. And it will be available through the links in the description as of today. Let's unpack this and see what's inside. The key specs of this drone is that it's still a mini drone that clocks in below 250 grams. I'll be surprised if it's not a C0 drone, but let's check up on that. It is capable of providing, as we are getting familiar with or getting used to with DJI products, stunning video quality. We will test that out, of course. But we just need to get it unpacked first. It will be capable of delivering through the 1 or 2.3 inch 12 megapixel CMOS sensor. It will be capable of delivering 4K at 30 FPS. It can also do a little bit of slow motion if you reduce the resolution to 2.7K to record in up to 60 FPS. That will allow you to maybe do 2 times slow motion. That can be done in 1080p as well. And all the data is being transferred with a high bitrate of 100 megabit per second. So this is how it looks. So it still has this very nice prop holder. That is super nice. It has some stickers on the rear props. It actually feels a lot like a Mini 2. Which is super nice, as I've wrecked mine. So that's a nice substitute. Maybe I don't need to get that repaired at all. So if I remove those, see? It looks exactly like a Mini 2. Maybe there's a little bit of difference in the plastic here and there, but it is very, very close to the original Mini 2. And you have the C0 marker in the base of the drone. I guess DJI is getting rid of all the old parts. This is exactly the same setup as the Mini 2. So that's super nice. So now I have a new Mini 2 drone to compensate for the one that I wrecked. So, as I said, the camera sensor, that is well known. It's the 1 or 2.3 inch CMOS sensor that we know that clocks in images at 12 megapixel. So it's definitely not going to revolutionize the world, but you have to still recognize, at least as far as I've seen reflying my old Mini 2, it actually produces some quite decent and crisp images as well as video. As long as you don't challenge it during low light, where this tiny sensor struggles a bit. Sticky stickies. Get rid of all the sticky stickies. So what else do we have in here? Yeah, we have the remote. And this is no fancy screens here. So this is the old-fashioned remote, where we have the sticks here. They are tucked nicely away in the base. And they screw in like this. I wonder when DJI will make a system where the sticks they can stay on. I've seen that from other manufacturers, where you simply just, you just put down the sticks and lock them into a position, and then you can take them out. This screwy thing here seems like a really old-fashioned approach. You have the possibility to plug in the phone here in the top. So you still need to use your phone to operate this one, and that goes under here. So, and then it's being hooked up with a cable to the controller. Then we have the charging hub. It's like coming home. I had such a good time with my Mini 2 back in the days. That's for sure. That was a really, really brilliant drone when that was released. A lot ahead of its time. And here we have a fully discharged set of batteries, and this is of course what we need to do as the first part here, is that we need to put everything up on charge, and then we need to go out and take it for a test flight. So we have all the instructions here that we usually get. We have a bucket load of extra props, which we in this case actually need, because there are no sensors on the drone apart from the 2 IR sensors in the base that will protect the drone when you are out flying. So we need those extra props in case that we come into close contact with something and need to replace them. And there's a screwdriver for the purpose as well. There are 2 cables that will allow you to hook up Android and iOS phone. And there's a charging cable. There's no charger included, which I actually think that was part of the original kit. But it seems this is the new policy that chargers are not being included. The flight time is as expected in the range of the mini drones. It's estimated for 31 minutes, which we know is not going to be anywhere near the real life performance, but this is still an indicator where we are level wise. So I would expect we get something like 20 to 25 minutes out of this drone, depending on the weather and the flying style that I'm performing. Of course, you will have the compatibility with this one. You can't use the smart controller as far as I can see from the specs with this one, but you will have access to the smart features, which will help you out, especially if you're a beginner. So you have the possibility to do QuickShots. Panorama is the one tap takeoff and landing, and then there's the smart return to home. So when everything is charged, I will take it out in the open for a test flight, and then I will include some of the stuff that you're getting with this drone. And let's hope that it will be possible for me to do it without running into all sorts of issues. Maybe I should find another location to do this than the usual spot in the parking lot where I have been subjected to a lot of stuff here lately. So now everything is charged. So what I will do now is I will fire up everything just here in the office before we take it outside for a test flight. So we start by plugging in the battery like this. Then we are going to take the DJI Fly app that's currently running here on an iOS device. I did check what was delivered with the drone, and it seems if you pull up here, there is an extra cable inside here. So you basically have 3 cables available. One that goes to a lightning connector that will allow me to connect to the iOS DJI Fly app. There's one that is a USB-C to USB-C that will allow me to connect to one of the newer Android phones. And then there's one with a micro USB connector that will allow me to hook it up to a legacy Android phone. So the next thing that we're gonna do here is we're gonna take the phone and then we're gonna slide it into this holder like this. And then we're gonna plug in the cable here on the side. So everything is nicely organized. If you have an Android phone, you just switch to one of the other appropriate cables and then make sure that you connect the end of the cable here, especially with USB-C to USB-C. There's an indicator on the end of the cable that needs to go into the controller. So once that is plugged in, we can fire up everything. And we do that by short press, long press. It's like standard procedure for DJI products, short press, long press. And before you get to that point, you need to log into the DJI Fly app with your credentials or create a DJI account if you don't already have one. And when we're getting in here, the first thing that we need to do is we need to activate the product. So I press activate. This is a very important time when you activate the product because you have 48 hours to buy your DJI Care Refresh and bind it to the product. Are you exceeding this timeline? You can still get the DJI Care Refresh, but you need to provide video evidence to DJI that the drone is still in one piece. It's much easier if you want to go for the DJI Care Refresh to do that within the first 48 hours. So let's see, this is new. You need to register your National Aviation Authority number once you have registered as a drone operator, blah, 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 blah. That's basically what you need to do if you're in the EU flying under the EASA drone regulations. You need to register yourself as a drone operator, and then you need to sort of put the sticker on top of the drone. And lucky me, I have a few pre-printed stickers here that I can use. So I can simply go and put the label on top of the aircraft. So, as you can see, right now I have my drone operator ID as a label on top of my drone. Then we press OK, and then it says find more flight safety info before you fly later on the home screen. So that's basically as simple as it is to activate the product and get ready to get started. And because I got the product prior to release, there is like a very secret firmware update available that I need to install first. So when you hook everything up for the first time, it's kind of expected that you're being prompted to go and install an updated firmware. you always need to make sure that you have the latest and greatest firmware before you go out and fly. One of the things that I want to make sure that we have under control is that we have selected a SD card for the drone, and I'm using this SanDisk Extreme Pro, which is the 128 gigabyte version. So I will just take one of those and make sure that this is mounted in the drone. So we have something to store our recordings when we are out flying. 128 gigabyte is a really good level, amount of storage to bring. You can have a lot of footage onto that card before you run out of space. You take the card and then you keep the side with the writing on against yourself. Then you simply slide it in and push like this, and then it's locked into position. Another thing that I want to see is I have my Mini 2 here. That suffered quite a fate here a while back. You can see it's kind of broken, and that means that I would basically have a set of ND filters available from this drone, and it would be interesting to see if I could use that kit along with the DJI Mini 4K. So instead of repairing my old DJI Mini 2, I can salvage some of the parts from it, at least the batteries and stuff, and then I have plenty of batteries for this one. I have this trusty set of filters from Firmware. Let me just take the drone here in a firm grip and then put on a filter. Yeah, see? Actually, so it seems the drone is compatible with the filters from my old Mini 2. So that's super cool. That will save you some investment if you already have a kit of those filters laying around. So I'll get the firmware sorted and then I will see you outside.
So we are outside Hillerød to do our first test flight with the DJI Mini 4K. So let's just start by unpacking the drone. And I managed to get a new firmware installed onto this one, even though I had a few issues with the pre-released version of the DJI Fly app. But I found out that it was actually not the drone's fault. It was error 40, the guy 40 centimeters behind the device. And it was because I was using an outdated version of the DJI Fly app, and that was what prevented me from installing the firmware. So, but now everything is like it's supposed to, so we take off the gimbal cover and we fire up the drone. And as we saw before we left the office, it was actually possible to get the Freewell ND filters to fit onto the drone, but we are not going to use ND filters today because I want to show you what the raw footage looks like without anything in front of the camera. So I'm plugging in the phone like this, adding the cable, firing up the DJI Fly app. No, so we're outside the Novo Nordisk facility in Hillerød. I'm just gonna take a small sneak peek how far they are with the installation. I thought that could be fun. It is a little bit windy today, but let's see how it goes. So, see, I'm taking out the sticks. They are tucked nicely away here in the base, and I'm putting those here so they are nicely tucked in. So we have one of the problems using your phone when you're outside in the sun. This iPhone actually dims down, so sometimes it's very, very difficult to see what it is that is actually being shown on the screen. But this is what we have to work with as it is right now. So I'm firing this one up, making sure that I have a screen recording running here. So everything's running, yeah. So now everything is ready. We are ready to go. So we start by saying press the Go Fly button here. And now we're getting a lot of information, which is nice if you're a newbie to the hobby. We need to agree full responsibility for flying in this zone. We do that, of course. Before we take off, we better check that there is no issues flying here. So what I do now is I start another screen recording here. So what I do now is I'm going into drone sonar.dk, which is an application that you have access to here in Denmark. And of course I should have done that before. I went here, but I picked this location randomly when I drove by. As I've just been to a really fantastic car meetup in Helsingør with a lot of Ferraris and a lot of other fancy cars. And this phone also has the same problem. You can't see anything that's going on here. So, yeah. Go. And then press the crosshair here. See. So there's a private airstrip here nearby. And what does it say? Drone flying is permitted, but you need to exert extra caution when you're flying. So there's no problem flying in this area. So that's good. So that's useful information. See these. Look at this. It's completely black. I can't see what's going on the phone. But at least I saw what I needed to see. So let's stop the screen recording here and tuck that phone away. Let's get airborne and see what we can do with this. Let's just check the camera settings here. So we start out in the low end. And so this is 1080p 30. So let's get it up here. And out in the middle. But it gets kind of boring to do 1080p 30. So let's just park the drone here a little bit and stop the recording and then jump in under resolution and see we can bump it up to 4K, and then we can do like 30 FPS, and then we can start the recording again. We can start flying here. So we are flying towards these buildings over here. Maybe you don't want to go completely close to the building, and this is when we get the gimbal knocked out of position. So let's say that we don't want to go the complete way to this construction site over there. That might not be a good idea. I don't know. It's the weekend, so maybe that's not a big issue. But look at this. We have 2 times magnification now. 2 times digital magnification. So of course you will have maybe a little bit of quality loss, but it's a nice feature to have that will allow you to capture objects closer by than they are in real life. So that is super nice. We can also play a little bit around with it. Let's just fly around here, film a little bit so we can see the difference, so you can compare it. And you have all the standard modes available on the drone. You have, you can see you have the cine mode, you have the normal, and you have the sport mode. And we also have the strong wind warnings. It seems it's windy every time that I'm out testing. You can see that's actually quite a huge difference if you have 2 times magnification. So this is what we have here. So let's continue to fly a little bit further towards the building. Maybe we want to flick it in sport mode, so we are flying a little bit faster when we do it. We are fighting a little bit the wind here, so maybe we need to go further down. And the gimbal is also struggling a lot here, so maybe I should go further down. You need to be a little bit careful when you're flying in close proximity to objects, because you don't have any sensors that will protect the drone. So let's just fire a few images here. So if I go into photo mode, I have the regular options. I have the option to take a single photo. I can take an A/B, where I'm getting one that is overexposed, one that's underexposed, and one that's neutral exposed. So let's just do one of those. And we want to make sure that we have the JPEG plus RAW option enabled, so we get the maximum flexibility in post. So let's take a B photo. So now we're getting 6 images, 3 RAW images and 3 JPEG images. There's also the possibility to do time shots where you could set a fixed interval between each image that the drone is taking. That might be super nice if you're just zipping around and want some images of the area. The video mode, yeah, we have all of that. Maybe we should, just for the sake of it, just try the 2.7 and bump that up to 60 FPS. So, we can try and follow that car. So you can see I can slow this down if I want to with a factor 2 because I'm doing 60 FPS. It flies like you would expect any DJI product would do. And I haven't even trimmed in the parameters yet. But look at this. We can do nice stuff like this. There's no problems in doing that. So let's just try and... It is actually quite wind sensitive, I must say. We're kind of getting used to this. It's not such a big challenge, but you can also hear that it is a little bit windy now, right now. Let's just bring the drone a little bit down here and bring it a little bit closer to me. So, if you fly it over here, we could do the slow motion test. So see, now I'm slowing it down. So let's put it back in 4K 30 FPS like this. Then with a drone like this, you don't have all the fancy features, but you do have access to some of the automated quick shot modes that will allow you to do different stuff. And you can see that I'm pre-selected here. So if I'm selecting myself and I've selected a drone, I can say I want the drone to move 60 meters backward here. And if I press start, what you would see now is that the drone will basically back away from me and it will ascend while it's filming. That's a super nice way to get started until you get comfortable using the sticks. Then it's super nice and easy way to capture some quite stunning shots. And the cool part is, once it is done with the quick shot, it will return to the same position where you started the mission. So now it's coming back. Come back! yeah, it's now it's saying returning. So you have a selection of, I believe it's 5 drones, not 5 drones, but 5 quick shots available inside from the menu. And again, you can adjust the resolution here in the corner. You can adjust it if you want it to be 4K or whatever that you want it to do. So that's super nice, super flexibility, and you can see you have, let's just do one rocket. You can do that in 4K, that's super nice. And you can see you have additional circle, helix and boomerang. Let's just try a rocket. Let's just let it go to 40 meters, that's nice. And then we press start. So what you will see now is that the drone will go up and then it will keep the subject that we selected in the frame. See, now it goes up and it goes up to 40 meters. Now it kind of lost track of me. And then it will go back. So. And quite soon we are being squeezed on battery. It was not a fully charged battery that I plugged into the drone before we did this, but I have one more thing that I want to show you. So now it's returning. And you will have all those clips available on the SD card that is mounted in the drone. So I just want to show you the panel function. And for that, we want to do like a wide angle. No, we can do a sphere. Maybe you can't do a sphere. Just want to do a wide angle. That's a very useful one. again, we want to make sure that we have JPEG plus RAW. And then, we just go up here at a certain distance. So we just ignore this for now. So now we have a little bitty squeezy here. So we are here now. Low battery, return to home. Yes, we know that. So what it's doing now, it's actually taking 9 individual photos and they are stitching those together to one single image. So in that way, even though it's a small sensor, you can basically expand the photo capabilities of the drone. So let's just for the sake of it here, I'm just hurrying here and then we land the drone. Just take a single photo just for comparison, so you can see how much larger the image is when it's stitched together from such a huge amount of photos. Let's just get it over here. See if we can hand land it. We could hand land it. So, and by the way, I do not recommend hand landing or hand catching the drone if you're a beginner. You can wait a little bit with that part, but I'm still going to show you. And this is one thing that's important. If it goes into this attitude mode that you say, let's say that I launched it already now, then there's no GPS lock, so the drone will drift all over the place. It will keep its altitude, but it will sort of drift around. So you don't want to do that. So if you want to hand launch it, you want to make sure that it's away from your face. So it goes up like this. So let's just jump in under Panorama shots so I can tell you what you have. So you have the spherical one, the one where you can put together a lot of images to do like a globe. And you can upload the result of that stitching onto Facebook, and people can sort of scroll around inside and explore that image because it's a 3-dimensional. Then you have the wide angle one I just showed you, where you take 9 individual photos, both in JPEG and RAW, and stitch those together to one single image. And the cool part about that is that expands the photo capabilities of the drone quite significantly. And then you have the 180-degree one. That's basically a simplified version of the wide one, where you get 3 images next to each other, stitched together to one single image. There used to be like one in the other direction, but that seems to have been left out by now. So this is basically what you're getting with the DJI Mini 4K, is that you're getting photo mode with a single photo, AEB, and time shots. You're getting video where you can adjust from 4K down to 1080p with different frame rates. You have the QuickShots, where you have the drone and the rocket that I just shown. But apart from that, you also have the circle, you have the helix and the boomerang. And I would highly encourage you to go out and try out these functions because they're fully automated. You just need to make sure that there's room where you are testing out these. Finally, there's the panel shots that we just discussed. So this more or less summarizes what you're getting with this drone. It's a C0 drone. So if you're flying it in EU under the EASA drone regulations, there's no requirement of remote ID, so you don't need to worry about that one. The only thing you need to do is register as a drone operator. Make sure that you have added the drone operator ID on top of the drone. Of course, a drone like this do not offer the same functions and features as we are seeing in the older, more expensive versions. So if you just take a quick glance through the menus, you can see there's the usual stuff in here that will allow you to do all the basic things with the drone. You have the control function where you can adjust between metric in kilometer and imperial. You can adjust the text size in case that you need that, and you can play around with the gain and expo settings to sort of trim how the drone reacts. The camera, here we are in photo mode right now. Let's just jump in video mode here. So if I jump in under this menu, it's context sensitive. So the menu is actually changing depending on what you have selected in the main interface. As you can see here, there's very limited options for the camera. But there is a few things that I would recommend that you will enable. One is the histogram, the other one is the overexposure warnings, and there's also the grid lines, the rule of third, that will help you in the composition of your video footage. So that's definitely something that I would encourage you to enable. There's also something called frame guide. I've never used that before, but that is supposed to help you sort of make videos that look better or more cinematic. And you also have the option to play around with the manual and the auto white balance, but for now just let that stay in auto. Another really cool thing then if you are using the phone, maybe your phone is low on battery and you need to get the job done anyway, there is actually a nice setting down here that I have almost forgotten existed when flying with the phone, and that is the possibility to enable phone charging. So you can basically, because the battery is quite huge inside the remote, you can basically enable phone charging. So if you are low on battery for the phone, you can charge it with the battery that's inside the remote. So that's super cool. In case you want to pick one up and find it very interesting, then there are relevant links in the description below. And if you have additional questions that you want to know about the product, then drop them in the comment section below and I will do a follow-up video. I hope you liked this video. If you did, then feel free to give it a like. If you didn't like it, feel free to press the dislike button twice. Thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you around.